Hey everyone, testing, Mike Rosehart going live here. Hopefully people can hear me loud and clear. I think I'm mic'd up here.
Yep.
Is it going live?
Yep.
I didn't do a Facebook post and I didn't do an Instagram post, so Light Central. Hopefully people get the notification and jump on. We're going from the phone today, and so hopefully it works and people get the notification. It sounds like Kyle can hear it, it's live. People will start jumping on in a minute. So the Mike Rosehart Show. I'm hearing myself and it's really weird hearing myself. That means that you can hear me though. That means people can hear me loud and clear. It wasn't verby, it sounded okay?
Yes, that's good.
Cool. If you guys jump on, just let me know in the comments that you're in here. We're going for the Mike Rosehart Show, the Wise Wealth Show, but I'm starting to rebrand it. So for those people who are new and just jumping on, welcome. This is probably our 48th, 49th episode. We've been doing it once a week for almost a year now. I'm almost at 52 episodes, but next week I'm going to try something different. So I talked in last Wednesday, because every Wednesday at 7 p.m. live, I go for the Wise Wealth Show. We call it the Mike Rosehart Wise Wealth Show, whatever you want to call it. I'm creating a second channel called the Mike Rosehart Show. And so Kyle's going to jump a link to that in the comments here, and we'll do it again when this video is on playback in the description and in the comments. But I have another channel called the Mike Rosehart Show. And so I want you guys to jump over there, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on that channel. It'll just be for the Wise Wealth Show every Wednesday, live at 7 p.m. So I will do a post, but next Wednesday, hoping to convert over to the new channel. So that's the plan, is that we get ourselves to the point where we move over to the other channel, and this channel just gets a weekly Saturday upload, maybe the occasional midweek upload as well, but a better quality, longer form, shorter form type video, some longer form, some shorter form, but not live, because I think the algorithm punishes you for doing live streams. I do honestly believe that that's the case, and so we're going to test that theory. You guys know I talk about fail fast forward, right? When you fail, you got to fail fast and you got to fail forward. So if this fails, all I have to do is move back to the old channel. No harm, no foul. But I think I'm going to stick with it for a while. And so if you guys want to watch the Wise Wealth Show, like you do every Wednesday, and I know I didn't, unfortunately, I forgot to do a Facebook and Instagram post. Maybe Kyle can try to share it around there. But I was just looking at the property. We're actually filming at a property for, I think it's not this Saturday, but next Saturday's upload. And so it's gonna be a really cool property walkthrough video on how do you cash flow and house hack in good neighborhoods. And it's an actual property that we bought that is basically like an 8-bedroom property. We're talking about secondary dwelling units, what are the legal rights and restrictions around that, and how do you take a property that maybe didn't cash flow before and make it really strongly cash flow. What's up, guys? Jake, I see you on here. Tyler, I see you on. DW, what's poppin', Mike? Hey, how's it going? Hit that like button. That's right, guys. I don't know why, but for some reason this hasn't been pushed out to many people, so I don't think anyone's got the notification yet. Only 6 or 7 of you guys on. Usually you have like 25, so I don't know what's going on. Hopefully people are getting the notification and jumping on there. You see that it's live on the channel, right, Kyle? Mm-hmm. It's popping, so maybe people are just busy right now. It's a typical Wednesday. What this means for you guys before people all start popping on is you can ask me whatever you'd like, and happy to answer those questions for free. Jump in the comments, ask anything you want. I'm hoping to do a quick video today. I'm hoping to just do a 1-hour segment. Quite tired. What have I been up to in the last week? A lot of renovations on all the projects we got going on. We've got a bunch of new people that we hired. We got 4 new people with Right Way, which is really cool having those people jump on and kind of learn how to manage a lot of that. What else do we got going on these days? I got like some new content coming out for YouTube, which is cool. Family stuff. Oh, guys, my wife's like near ready to burst, so we're gonna have our 2nd child soon. So that's always exciting. Yeah, lots of things with business going on too. We're buying a business of Toronto, which has distribution locations in many different countries, which is a really exciting opportunity for us to kind of grow. Me and my partners who are buying it, for the 3 of, well, there's 2 other partners and myself, for us to grow and kind of experiment with different types of business beyond real estate. So I'm really excited for that as well. I think there's potential for it to make 2 or 3 million a year in positive cash flow, relatively safely. It's almost $1 million in cash flow each, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, so jump on and jump in the bottom with your questions. There we go, we got a first question. So, hey Mike, are you open to doing deals with people new to real estate or doing any type of training? DW, yeah, so a lot of this channel has been about financial freedom as of late, and I want to get back to my roots where I'm doing videos on how to, buy the right kind of property, how to renovate that property smartly and strategically. A lot of the training is already in my videos, but I want to do more videos on those topics. So that's definitely coming. What else can I tell you? That I don't right now have any courses out. I'm debating whether there'd be value in a course. I'm debating whether or not it might make some sense to do some coaching calls. Right now, I'm saying no on the coaching calls. Every request that I get, I just I say I'm too busy right now. I'm sorry, I can't get to doing that call. Even if it's $100 an hour, it feels bad to turn them down. But at the end of the day, I've got a lot going on, too much on my plate. What have I discovered recently? Oh, Prison Break. Last night I discovered this show called Prison Break. I know, I've known about the show for a long time, but I literally just decided to start watching it, and it was like way too late. I worked till 2, and then I relaxed from 2 till like 4 something, and then woke up this morning at 8:30. So bags under my eyes because I pushed myself last night to have some enjoyment, and then this morning I had a whole bunch of stuff going on with the team. We gotta start doing some more team meetings, I think, to get things more organized. It's actually really difficult to manage people effectively. So that's something that I've kind of been noodling through, and yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious why more people haven't jumped on. Usually everyone jumps on and there's like a whole horde of you guys that jump on with questions. But today, for some reason, my 7 or 8. I wonder if the algorithm is doing something here. We're gonna try it on the new channel next Wednesday and see what happens. So all of you guys who watch the playback, make sure that you all jump in the link that Kyle's going to drop in there. I don't see the link here. I don't know why it didn't pop up.
Is that channel live? I was searching for it. I can't find it.
Yeah, I think it is. Just type in like the Mike Rosehart show. I think it's public. It has no subscribers yet because I just created it, but it should be. Hey, William. How you doing? Welcome. Congratulations on the second baby. I'm also expecting a second baby. That's awesome. Congrats. I mean, like in person, if someone has money to start investing in real estate, you're willing to show them the ropes. Yeah, so the only way I think it makes sense to train in real estate is, hey Justin, thanks for jumping on. Yeah, I don't know why, for some reason YouTube's not been very conducive to live streams. Live streams have been being pushed out so that some of my subscribers even literally will message me and be like, Mike, why didn't you go live for the Wise Wall show? I didn't get a notification. And it's like YouTube is literally not even sending a notification to some of my subscribers. I think it randomly sends them, but people who watch it regularly, I think they're more likely to get a notification, especially if they spend a lot of time on the Wise Wall show. It's sort of strange the way it's working out. I don't know why it's doing that, but we're going to try it on the new channel called the Mike Rosehart Show. I'm going to start bringing guests onto the Wise Wall show. It's going to be live still, just you guys get that one-on-one with me, or one-on however many people are in the stream. But exactly, bring all your questions. I think the best way to coach in real estate is to do. So a lot of people charge for courses. You got the Scott McGillivrys and all those guys, to the Stefan Arnios, that all charge for coaching and courses. And I think those are great, but they're not effective. I think most people, probably 80%, don't take action. So I think it makes a lot of sense for you to partner with someone. I'll have to find the link and send it to you.
Yeah, I can't find that.
I have my phone on live stream, so oops, I just hit the table. So I'll have to dig it out and share it. I'll drop in the comments after, so loop back in, guys, on the comments of this video once I put the replay up, and I'll put a link directly to that channel and make sure it goes live. Yeah, he does. His performance coaching is like 125 grand or something crazy like that. I'm not going to knock anyone, but I will say that I think the best way to learn is to partner with someone and share a lot of that profit. So it makes a way more sense, I think, to take, say, if you're a newbie, right? Partner with someone who's experienced, call it like me or anyone, but partner with someone who's experienced, do the project together, maybe buy the property yourself as if you always would, but sign a joint venture agreement with the expert pro. Share with them 50% of profit, right? What that's gonna do is give you a huge learning upside opportunity that's tied to profit. So if I was gonna coach someone, and I do this, some of my investors I do spend more time than I probably should with some of my investors and coaching them through a lot of the processes. But in an ideal world, my investors are completely passive. and so I can just operate with full autonomy. But I think a good coaching program would be one where you partner with someone, and the profit you get paid is based on performance. So if the coach is bad and the material costs are high and certain targets aren't met and whatever, they're not helpful at all, then that should reflect. If no deals are done, you shouldn't have to pay a coaching fee, right? If no profit's made, there shouldn't be any fees paid, because most people pay for courses, take no action, and get no result and just lose the course money. So many people have done that. There's tons of friends of mine I even know who have spent $10,000, $20,000 in these courses, these rich dad, poor dad type courses, all of these courses, and they didn't take action for years. And it wasn't because of the courses they took action. They ended up taking action because of some networking event or some friend that they met. And I think the best way to do it is to partner with someone. There's a guy, Terry, out west I talked to once, who also has the same mentality I do, where you partner with the person. And you literally go to like Home Depot and show them how to buy materials. You go and you do the drawings together and you design it. It's something I'm open to. If I go back into retirement again and I close down the investment portion of this business, which I don't think will happen, but there might be a vehicle where if I ever did coaching, it'd be coaching where I'm tied to project performance. So someone in London here or wherever, does a project, I become an active partner with them. I don't bring any capital to the deal, but I bring expertise, and I coach them and train them through a real project. Because I think if I tell you how to buy materials and you're not out there going and doing that, I tell you how to renovate something, you're not out there doing that, it's hard to learn because it's muscle memory. Like you literally have to have a stake, have money in the game, doing a real deal to become refined, to become good at it. So I think, Michael, I think we should go. Michael is one of my mentees, and I want Michael to be our purchase optimizer in the company and be our logistics guy for sourcing a lot of the materials, because contractors will often spend hours trying to source materials at Home Depot and Rona, and then they're driving back and forth. They get off their topic, and then by the time they get back into what they were doing, it takes an hour or two to get back into the deep thought. If you're framing or doing something more complex like electrical or plumbing, if you're just there working and the materials keep coming as you need them, and all it is a text away, your operation is way more efficient. Most bigger ops, even when I had a couple projects going, I was that guy. For like 3 years, that was my main thing, was making sure trades had everything they needed to get the job done. Because if they don't have something they need, they leave, they don't come back to site, they're not happy, they don't want to go to the store, they don't want to deal with all of that. So at the end of the day, I'm going to rearrange this, by the way, guys. Hey, people are starting to get the notification. There's 22 people on. That's cool. See this map in the background, guys? You know what this is all about? This map I got given to me from a friend. I can't remember the name of the travel thing. We'll have to put a link in the comments after, but he sells these maps. It's in a frame, but it doesn't come in a frame. It's a scratch map. And you can really scratch every country, every city you go to. So like, I haven't scratched it yet, but like I've been to Ghana, Africa, for instance. I've been to Africa, and that was a trip I did when I was 17 for a human rights internship. I've been to Brazil. I've been to Rio, and I've been to a few different places there, and been all around the United States and Canada. I've never been to Europe ever in my life. I've never even been to Costa Rica or places like that where I really would love to go. There's so many places I've yet to see, so this is kind of cool. Very, very nice to be able to scratch off the places you've been. I really like that about this scratch map, like a scratch ticket kind of thing, which is really quite cool. So check that map out. I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna make like a set design, I think, right around here. Those white flashes you're seeing are just Kyle taking photos. Hi Kyle. I think over there is my desk. I'm gonna go set that up as like a nice desk area, maybe do a studio. We got the whiteboard on the other side over here. Okay, let's go back to the questions. It's still these cushions because this gimbal is so high up. Tripod, sorry.
Tripod's too tall.
Okay. Some more questions. What's the best time to open a credit card? There is no best time to get into a credit card. I think that you want to establish credit, so having multiple cards makes a lot of sense. You don't want to acquire debt too quickly either, because that'll punish your credit score. So I think, every 6 months, open up a credit card. If you're 18 or 19 right now, open a credit card right now. Buy something every single month, pay the bill off every single month. I used to pay it twice, once midway through the month, and then again at the end of the month to get double the credit points. It shows a better payment history if you pay it off twice in the month. For some reason, it's like just a gimmick I heard from a banker, and it actually works. You just pay like most of it off halfway through the month, and then pay the rest of it off at the end of the month. Apparently gives you 2 payments if you're trying to rebuild your credit score. The best time to get credit cards are whenever they have the promotional bonuses. Sometimes in the fall, they'll have some really good travel bonuses where Some of the cards will give you $300-400 Canadian in travel vouchers and points and things like that. So that's a good time to do it. What else? Yeah, I mean, depends on the card you're going for, I guess. I don't really do a lot of the card hacking anymore, but there are obviously great ways to do that. Credit hacking is what they call it, basically, where you get a series of credit cards, you get the bonus, you wait 6-8 months, then you kind of like stop using that card and close it down and open a new card, whatever, something like that. So those are strategies you can use to get the most points. Time is just not on my side. I'm battling the fact that, of course, I've got a million other things to be doing with my time. Even bookkeeping, for instance, now, and contracting work. I don't even do the contracting work anymore because it's not worth my time. I should be spending my time finding investors, finding deals, managing people. Those are the three things. Like if I manage all of my people really well, even if they're 10% more efficient, we have now 14 guys being 10% more efficient. That's more efficient than I could be ever. So making my guys more efficient, helping lube the wheels so that things go smoothly. So people management is really important, processes, systems, and then deals, obviously, a big value add. I'm bringing down $50,000 to $100,000 in value that I share with my investor every time I lock down a deal. So that's really important, being able to lock properties down under market. Huge amount of value there. That's something I should be focusing on. That builds our business faster than me swinging a hammer or me doing the bookkeeping. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but value of time value of your money. In the beginning, your time might not be that valuable. And so spending 6 hours on a credit application and getting the card all set up and setting the PIN up and maybe opening bank accounts and setting up a payroll deposit into that bank account to get the $300 promotion. I did that stuff. I got a smart TV in my master bedroom upstairs that is from TD for free, just opening up an account. I closed the bank account after, but I had to set up a payroll and pay one bill and something else. And then I got a free TV. So there was cool promotions I used to do like that when I was working, when my time wasn't that valuable and I didn't have anything else to do with my time except for watch Netflix or hang out with like friends. So there was or game, mostly gaming. So that was when it was valuable. I think it's always good to do. If you have the time, go ahead and do some credit card churning, some credit card hacking. Those are the two terms you'll hear if you type in like credit card churning, credit card hacking. It's basically the concept of getting those promotional bonuses and milking those to the max. I am a big fan of the 0% MBNA card, where I borrowed last year I borrowed $12,000 on the MBNA 0% card for a year, and it was a 1% fee. So I paid 1% interest for 12 grand for a year. That's a great use of capital to buy properties. Use it for your down payments. What should I contribute to the Roth 401k or traditional 401k when striving for fire? I currently max out my Roth IRA and have 80,000 HELOC ready to invest in real estate, but haven't found time to search for deals for myself. You might want to find a partner who's really good in the deals side, hook up with some wholesalers, or just find a good realtor who is really in tune with how to buy a good investment property. Have them do a lot of the legwork for you, right? Have them send you a lot of the deals and tell you what's good. So if you can find a good realtor who will do that for you, that'll help speed up your process. But how much do you contribute? The maximum, probably. Depending on your tax bracket situation, there's a lot of factors that play into it, but the more you can save, the better. And I know specifically in Canada, we have like the RSP, which is very similar to the 401k, and slightly different in some nuances, but the idea being that you want to contribute now in your high earning years, so in your low earning years, you can withdraw from it at a lower tax bracket. So that's why you want to start contributing as much as you possibly can to your retirement accounts now. And so, yeah. Another quick plug for those people just jumping on. We got 28 people here. I'm going to put a link in the description to another YouTube channel of mine called The Mike Rosehart Show, where we're going to start doing these Wise Wealth shows on that channel. So I'll have the two channels. Both channels will exist. This current channel is probably going to be more of the uploads, less of the live streams, and the live streams and the shows are going to be on the other channel called The Mike Rosehart Show. So that's going to be something that's going to kind of change. So keep an eye out for that, guys, and please hit the subscribe button to that channel and the notification bell so you can jump on for those streams. Next Wednesday, we're going to start implementing that. So yeah, kind of cool stuff. So I hope that answered your question, Jake. $80,000 seems like a ton on your HELOC to get investing. If you have a job already, you could probably get a mortgage for a couple $100,000 and use the HELOC for a down payment. Most lenders, almost all lenders, will use your HELOC, if it's a home equity line of credit, that's what HELOC stands for, will use that as proof of down payment. So it'll allow you to qualify. $80,000 at 20% down will buy you like a $400,000 property. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, good question. Any advice you can give for first-time buyers? What advice can I give for a first-time buyer? Do your homework. Do as much homework as you possibly can. Look at 50 houses before you buy one. Make sure that you get a home inspection. If you can't get a home inspection, make sure you bring a contractor or two through to give you quotes and give you their opinion. Often they'll give a free quote. Sometimes you pay them $20 and they'll come and give you basically a home inspection. So that'll be really cool, I think, to, if you're just getting started, to make sure you're not making a mistake, right? Hey, how's it going? Yeah, the Mike Rosehart show. So that'd be kind of cool. It's like the Wise Wealth show. It'd be the Mike Rosehart show, kind of brand around my name. Not that anyone's searching that anyway, but gonna throw it out there and have that second channel. I don't know if it's gonna dilute from the main channel, but I think it's an aside. It's a separate channel that adds quite a bit of value. We just got to plug that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does it make sense to have a second channel? I think that the nice thing about the second channel, while a lot of my audience won't find this second channel probably, the nice thing about it is that I think YouTube won't punish me anymore for doing uploads that no one watches. Like we only get a few hundred uploads or a few hundred watches on this Wise Wealth show, and then I do a Saturday upload that gets thousands. So the algorithm doesn't know what to do with that. It's like thinking, well, why people watch this channel and they don't watch this channel? So what's going on here? And maybe it's more I need to rebrand the Wise Wealth show with keywords and really good titling and good thumbnail. Each one a new thumbnail like Dave Ramsey does. I don't know. I'm gonna try it out. It's gonna be an experiment. We'll see if the other channel, see how it kind of works out and go from there. Okay, so I'll go up here and get the rest of these questions because I missed some. Okay. Matthew McClure says, do you have any tips for investing in multi-units in America? So Matthew, I think that, what are some tips for investing in multifamily? Run your numbers, because with multifamily, it's all about the net operating income. So the income is everything. You want to look at your cap rate. You want to look at your price relative to the net operating income. And you want to look not just at current net operating income, but what is the potential net operating income, and what do you have to do to get from plan A to plan B. Multifamily real estate is valued based on cash flow, based on net operating income, NOI. That's how you value real estate. It's multifamily. If you can increase the net operating income, let's say you could get all the tenants out and double the rents on a large multifamily building, you would in theory double the value of the building. If you had a $2 million building that was renting for $200,000 in rent a month, you get the rent roll up to $400,000 on a multifamily, the building's now worth potentially $4 or $5 million. Now, sometimes in the higher appreciating markets, now they're factoring in some of that rent inflation into the purchase price. They're calling it like future potential. And so that's kind of weird when you should just pay for cash flow today. Some of these buildings in like LA and New York and Vancouver, they're trading at really low cap rates, like a 2 or 3 or 4 cap rate, which is cap rate is the relationship between value and net operating income. So basically they're trading for a high value based on the cash flow, the profit that they're bringing in on the building. And so that's really important, I think. If you're paying for too much future rent increase or future appreciation, you're not being smart about buying multifamily. Multifamily is only ever designed to create cash flow for you. So just be careful when you're buying it. Yeah. Okay. So that's some tips. I should do a video on multifamily investing in general. That would probably be a good video to do. Michael Chung says we should go buy materials. Well, I already saw that one pop up. And yes, you know what we should do is actually we should bring a camera with and film me in Home Depot or Rona and show you guys how to get the right deals, how to navigate through the store quickly, and some pro tips just kind of popping up as we go through. So how do you buy materials? I did a video a while back at Lowe's. I'm trying to remember, Kyle, a long time ago when I was walking around at Lowe's, didn't we? Maybe it was all bad footage.
I didn't have.
I don't know. It was around the Black Friday property. I think around that time.
Black Friday property video.
There was some, the Black Friday property video.
Yeah, we did.
That property, by the way, I should do a follow-up video on that. We got to rent it out for $3,000 a month. I was expecting $2,800, so we over-rented it, and we got a refi on it for $270,000, and we bought it for I think $212. So that was a nice refi. Put a mortgage on it, 80% loan to value. We got almost all of our money out. This is an interesting deal. So I got creative on this one, and we have a guy who's a dentist who is providing the mortgage on it. And we have a trust agreement that my partner and I own 92% of it. He owns 8%. We gave him a free 8%, but he signed for the mortgage, the cheap mortgage on it. So we put a big mortgage on it, pulled our money out, and we're now getting, my partner and I 92% of cash flow and upside, and it didn't cost me a mortgage, it cost me nothing. And I got a mortgage at 3.49% or something from one of the big banks. So that's a way you can partner together where that person put up no money. All they did is just sign the dotted line for the mortgage. and that was their value add to the deal. They did nothing, no work. I did all the renovations, everything. And now I got all my cash out because we put a mortgage on it for the purchase price. So I'm only in it for my renovation, which was like $8,000 reno. We did a really lean reno. And I'm gonna get that out in about 5 months, 6 months, maybe 7 months of cash flow. And so I'll be $0 in this property, and we'll all be getting passive income checks forever, plus appreciation. So that's the kind of deals I really enjoy, is when you can pull all your money out. You know, it was a lot of effort and energy to get that deal done, but that was a cool video. So check out the Black Friday property, because that actually went really well, that deal. Not as well as I had always hoped. I would have hoped for like a 275, 280 appraisal. Unfortunately, 270 is a little lower than I would have liked, but still really good, because you know 80% loan to value on 270 is almost a full burr. Pretty cool. Doing it all day, and this was just an average deal. It wasn't even a special one. Some burrs you get paid to do deals, right? Those are the ideal kind, where you literally get your money out and you do get paid. But be creative. Find ways to be creative. If the bank says no, I can't get financing anymore, how do I navigate through that? I find a partner who's got great income who can get financing, and they don't mind because they don't have any mortgages anyway. They're like, yeah, I'm down to do like 3-4 mortgages. Why not? So the Black Friday property, that was a fun one. But yeah, we should do a walkthrough video on that. Erica has the same map. Mike, your growing up poor video touched me in many places. Just kidding. I don't know, bro. I almost nodded. Keep up the good work. Thanks, I appreciate that. That was a hard video for me. I didn't do a good job delivering it. It wasn't very entertaining. And as a result, it didn't get a lot of views. It got like 900 views. I want to try some cool strategies where we implement more animation style, like more text and stuff in the video, more clips, video clips from other videos, and more B-roll. So for instance, you know how like a lot of these YouTubers would be like, I bought another house, and they'd like crack a beer and like pour the beer and do like, show like an image of like cash on a table. They do some really cool footage while you're talking to keep you engaged. That kind of stuff I'm gonna start implementing, I think, to raise the bar on the quality of the videos that we're producing. And I think it's gonna help a lot. Yeah, so that's kind of what happened there. Thank you, Future Wiz. I appreciate the support, and at the end of the day, as much as I was joking about, you know, touching you in places or whatever with that video, I'm glad that it had an impact. And this Saturday's video is on the Millionaire Mindset, which is the second part of that video. So check that out. It's not about my story. It's just about some of the mentality shifts that had to happen for me to get from where I was to where I am today. And even today, my mindset's shifting again from this frugal mindset to you have to spend money at times to make money. For instance, where I was too frugal to go out for a lunch even, now I'll pay for a lunch with someone if it's with the right person, because I know building that relationship will lead to tens of thousands of dollars in business in the future. And that was something that I was closed-minded to before, when I was focused just on how to basically save as much money as possible. And so now, you know, sometimes spending $100 can have a huge impact. And I don't recommend that when you're just starting out, because you should be saving for the future. And if you're not saving, then it's going to cost you a lot in compounded value. But once you build up enough, then there's a point where I think it can make a lot of sense to invest in other people, in other relationships. D's information, that's quite a bit of travel. Yeah, I mean, not really. I've done very little travel compared to a lot of other people. I know a lot of people have been on a lot more trips than I have. Considering I grew up poor, it's really good, because I didn't do any traveling until I left, like until end of high school. That was like my first trip outside the country. I think I went to the US when I was like 15 for the first time. And I live in a border town. Or I did live in a border town, Sarnia. Tommy, how you doing? Good to see you on. It's great seeing you at OREC. The only country I've been to is Canada. There you go. Canada and the United States, like brothers. What deposit do you recommend going in with in a competitive market? So I like the 10,000 deposit. Deposit doesn't mean a whole lot, because it's only like a 30-day thing or a 60-day thing. So to put a 5,000 deposit versus a 1,000 versus 10,000 versus 20,000, it's not a huge deal. To me anyway, like the cost of me putting a higher deposit is $100 in interest or less. So it's a very small thing that can create a lot of bargaining power for you, because it has an impact. When you put up a $20,000 deposit, or more than 10,000 and more, it shows you're very serious about the offer and you're not going to walk away. And that's important, because in this climate, people are putting in offers with no conditions and then they're walking away. And so you get to keep that deposit. That happened to me once before, where a deal was a 4,000 deposit, or supposed to put 5,000 up. They put 4,000 up there, 1,000 short. And then they ended up the deal falling apart. And we kept their 4,000 deposit. and it's lucky we didn't sue them. Ended up we sold the property a few months later for like way more than we were going to sell it to them. So I ended up winning twice over. But that's an example of when you put your deposit up, you've got to make sure you can actually close, because there is money on the line there, and that's important when you put up a deposit. These wholesalers putting up $100 deposits and $1,000 deposits, it's craziness. I don't know why people sign for that, because they could walk away and you only got $100 on the line or $1,000 on the line, and most people won't go after you and sue you for not closing, right? Especially if they can sell the house for the same or more to someone else. Just got approved for my 8th credit card. Future was, wow, 8 credit cards. That's a ton. I have like 4. And I have a hard time just managing those 4, paying them all off. Not that I don't have the money, it's just literally managing the bills coming in and remembering to pay them is a bit of a challenge. I'm trying to set up automatic payment, but the bank's dumb. And often I'll have automatic payment set up, and then for some reason it'll just come off. And they'll be like, oh, you didn't make your payment. And I'll be like, check the records. We have automatic payment. They're like, oh, there was a glitch in our system. That'll be $80 in interest, and it hit your credit, sorry. Very common, retarded bankers. Or not bankers, but like literally retail bank. And you have less than 2 years of credit history so far. So you're obviously building up a good amount of credit history with all those different credit cards and different accounts open. The key is using those credit lines effectively and making sure that the credit that you're using, you're paying off, and you're using all those different avenues of credit, because you want to make sure you have active use of that credit. They want to see you've got 2 years of history. Really important future. Sounds like you have a good credit history being built. That's important. I did the same thing when I turned 18, and then so I get my first house at 19. I had about 15, 18 months of credit history built up, and the bank took a chance. So, what do you think of the St. Catharines and Niagara Falls market? Tom Craig asks. I'm indifferent on it. I like the Niagara Falls market because there's still cash flow. It cash flows better than a lot of other markets that are within the range of GTA. It's a little bit further from the GTA, but I do like the market there. I'll be honest. They have some students there too, with like Brock and stuff in St. Catharines. So there's some of the student market there. There is a ton of cash flow. There's lots of opportunities for arbitrage. I feel good about it. I don't feel as good about that market as, say, London. It's not as resilient as, say, Toronto, but I think Toronto's overvalued. So despite being a really strong economy, you're paying a lot for that strength, whereas you're not quite paying near as much in London for also a strong economy. But yeah, no, I like the market. I think eventually we'll expand into markets like that, especially Oshawa and Durham. Big fan of those markets. What have you used to manage your own property? Do you ever have a tenant who consistently pays late? If so, what was your method of handling the tenant? These information, yeah, so we use Property Vista as our software to manage everything. But before that, I used Google Sheets and just, some archaic systems, like basically Microsoft Excel to manage my rent collections and my expenses on each property. I had a tab. Eventually, you get too many properties, that gets out of hand. I think that eventually you move over to a software. But if you have like less than 15 buildings, a spreadsheet works just fine, with a tab for each property, something to that effect, for income and expenses. Now, from a management perspective, I just use my phone. Like my iPhone would have all of my saved text conversations. I can just search the tenant's name really quickly there. I could create group texts if I'm doing a notice to tenants to go in and see them or whatever. And as long as they confirmed, then they've agreed to the digital messaging. Email is another way to kind of message with the tenants. As you get bigger, then you need to obviously get a software that can automate things, but to a certain point, less than 15 properties, I think there's no need for a software. Not a big need anyway, that's for sure. Not worth the money you're probably going to pay for it. So, did I have a tenant who, and the second part of your question was, did I ever have a tenant who was consistently paying late? Yes, I've had lots of tenants that consistently pay late. We have tenants now that consistently pay late. I have a really good tenant that always pays in like the 5th or 6th, and they're great. It doesn't bother me at all, because do I care? If the tenant takes really good care of the property and they always pay their rent and they, there's no issues, who cares if they pay it on the 5th versus the 1st? I mean, the time value of that money over 5 days is like nothing. If you don't have a couple months of expenses in float, you're not doing something right as a real estate investor. You should always have a float. I carry a float of 1% of the property's value on all of my properties. So if a property is a $400,000 property, I have $4,000 always set aside. That's for each property. That's important, I think, guys, for making sure that you have the liquidity in the times of vacancy or recession or something happens at the property. And so I'm not too worried about them falling late. Where it became a problem once for me was they were always late, and then one time they lost their job or something happened, and then they were already late and I hadn't informed them because they had a pattern of always being late, and then they got behind and it ended up becoming a couple months of rent. We had to take them to the tribunal, and I ended up getting that money because I didn't want to take the time to go take them to small claims court. I could have taken them to small claims court and recuperated my cost. It's just time. Like, what's my time worth to go sue them in court for like $2,000? Probably not worth it. Not worth the headache and all that. But yeah, you could go after them for the money and garnish their wages. So it's not a huge deal. I prefer tenants that pay early, but I would much prefer a tenant that paid late that was a good tenant than an annoying tenant or a bad tenant that paid on time. The nice thing is if a tenant pays late 9 times in a row, I believe it is, or like 3/4 of the time, it's a certain number of months in a row. I think it's 9 months in a row. In our case, it was 9 months in a row. We filed a motion with the landlord tenant board that they could be evicted for not paying their rent on time. They consecutively, every month. The problem is if they're late, then they're on time, late, then on time, late, then on time. Can't do much. But if they're late consistently for many months, you can go make an application to the board and get them evicted for not paying their rent on time. So that's a great one for being able to have control of the tenant, because then you can just evict them. So you actually want a tenant that pays late, because then if you have a history of that, you can say, hey, I need to evict you because you don't pay your rent on time. And it's a valid reason to evict. What's the worst is those tenants that smoke in the units and paying way below market rent, and they pay right on the first. I have a lot of those tenants that we inherited when we buy properties that don't want to get evicted, and they pay like their rent early because their rent is like $500 when it should be $1,000 market, and you can't get rid of them, and they're the worst tenants. So paying on time doesn't really mean a whole lot. What means a lot is the quality of the tenant and that they actually do eventually pay. Okay, I'm gonna try to get caught up here. Mike, bro, you rock. You're the best. Thank you. Appreciate that, Fraz. If you had a tenant who pays late and does not always pay the late fee, how do you handle this type of situation? So disinformation, the question you're asking, in Canada, in Ontario, you're not allowed to charge late fees. It's actually against the law. What you can do, and in fact, like I went and tried to charge interest and late fees, and the tribunal, after 4 months, gave us the exact same rent, no late fee. So they actually ruled that there was no late fee. And so you can't charge late fees. What you can do, this is actually legal, is put in your Ontario lease, you can charge a prompt payment discount of $20, let's say. And so their rent is, you say their lawful rent is $1,520 instead of $1,500 if their rent is, say, $1,500. And you tell them in the lease, hey, I'm putting $1,520 for your rent here on the lease. Now we both know your rent's $1,500 as long as you pay on time. If you don't pay on time, your rent is actually $1,520 on here. And so then you can bring that to the adjudicator and say, hey, their rent is $1,520. They signed this lease. They agreed to that. I just happen to give them a discount of $20 each and every month because they paid on time. They didn't pay on time. Therefore, the rent is $1,520. So that's a way to get the prompt payment discount. And that's a word you can use that actually does hold up. You can't charge them late fees. You're not allowed in Canada. You can pay rent late and it's the same dollar amount. There's no fees. It's against the law. Looking forward to the Mike Rosehart show. Awesome. Wes Dizzle. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Mike, good seeing you at OREC. Appreciate the tips and advice, and I have one question for you. Thanks, Tyler. It's good seeing you at OREC as well. Alan Grace says, makes sense. Mark Walsh. And by the way, I'll look down below. I'm sure the question is there, but I haven't gotten to it yet. What do you think about Grant Saboteur? I'll be meeting him next month. I don't know a ton about Grant Saboteur. Saboteur? I never even heard of the name. I don't even know who that is. It sounds vaguely familiar, like I may have seen a video or something, but nothing's ringing any bells. No comment. It does make sense to have a second channel. 2 channels makes more sense. Yeah, I'm not sure. We're going to try it out and see what happens. You guys got to all subscribe to that channel. We'll put a link to it. You guys got to jump on there and subscribe to it. And that way we can move the audience over there. I think I won't move over until we have like 100 or 200 subs on there, because then they actually have an active audience to watch the Wise Wealth show. But yeah. If you had 100K capital and we're looking to buy a property to Burr in London, what type of property would you be looking for? I'm trying to think of what price point would be the best. Tyler, that's a tough question. There are deals everywhere. In Northwest London, East London, Old East Village, Soho, South London, Fanshawe area, Western area, just plain North, plain West. There are deals everywhere in London. There's cash flow at the 500,000 range properties, student properties. I see it all the time. There's cash flow at the 150,000 single family houses. You got to be careful what you're buying, but there's a huge range, and I buy a variety of properties. I don't just buy student rentals. I don't just buy single families. I buy a little bit of both. We've got quite a few of either in our portfolio, it allows for some resiliency, right? So I'm not just relying on Fanshawe students or Western students, or right. Like if I was just like the Western student guy and something happened to the program, I'd be screwed. So I don't want to just have that, right? I want to have levels of resiliency that make my portfolio safer in times of recession. But what do you do with the capital? You should buy some property that lever that capital up. That's really important. 100,000 should buy you, $400,000, $500,000 in property, depending if you put 20, 25% down. Closing on a 225,000 duplex in 2 weeks. Second purchase. Hey, congrats! That's awesome. Second purchase, nice. D's information retracted their comment. Life Fitness says, hey Mike, could you talk about the numbers when it comes to expenses, specifically utilities? I was interested to be here about, or to hear, I guess you mean, about 4-bedroom single family versus a 9-bed triplex. I'm looking at student rentals. Thanks. So Life Fitness, one of the rules I use, if they're really bad students, they use a lot of consumption. On the conservative side, I would go with that number, is 75 per bedroom for utilities. In a standard 5-bedroom house, 6-bedroom house, I will see around $75 per bedroom in utilities. So a 9-bedroom would have, $600-$700 a month in utilities, theoretically, if it was a triplex in total, if it wasn't very efficient. Now it gets less the more bedrooms you have, right? You split that fixed cost, like the cost of heat gets split across more bedrooms. That's obviously makes it cheaper. It's better to do square footage than bedrooms, but you can use bedrooms as a benchmark. I would say a 4-bedroom student property probably has like $280 a month in utilities, $300 in utilities if they're bad with their usage. And I would say a triplex would have like 600, so like double. So a 4-bedroom versus a 9-bedroom, I would say the 9-bedroom triplex probably has like 500-ish, if I had to guess, in utilities, but it'd be 50 a bedroom on average utilities. And then on the smaller, less bedrooms, probably 75 per bedroom in utility usage. So that'll give you an idea of roughly your utilities. Go high, just in case, try to guesstimate a higher number just to be safe. Hey Mike, any thoughts on using a line of credit to pay down my mortgage? If the line of credit has a lower interest rate than your mortgage, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know any unsecured lines of credits that have better rates than the mortgages. Most mortgages are at 3.5%. Your line of credit's at like 4, 5%, 6%. Maybe there's a promotion for a while where it's lower, but it eventually goes back up to a higher percentage and you're screwed paying higher interest on that line of credit. So I wouldn't recommend that at all. I don't recommend paying on your mortgage at all. I refinance and get a bigger mortgage as I pay it down to buy more property. So I'm not a big fan of paying down your mortgage. I did a video on just that. You can check out why it makes no financial sense to pay on your mortgage. That was a good Black Friday deal. I'd like to see a walkthrough. D's information after this video is done. Go check out the Black Friday property. Take a look at it and you can see basically the layout. We did exactly what we said we were going to do. Plus we made it more bougie. So I put like a little kitchenette in the basement and put like really nice pot lights in. We did more than what I was originally planning. The budget was a little bit higher, but still was good. Got a good refund on it. And the rate I think is like 3.5, 3.49, 3.5. You can definitely still get those rates. Go on ratespy.com and you can take a look at the rates and see what's available, what's out there. DW asked newbie where the duplex was. So that's not for me to answer. Mike says, going to buy a car tonight at best price upfront, buying used and had car checked out. Any other tips? Yeah, I love buying used vehicles. I like to buy them privately as opposed from dealers, but I bought a Hyundai Santa Fe from a dealer before and had some issues, but it wasn't overly bad. And they actually warrantied a lot of the issues I had. I brought it back and they fixed some of the stuff that was up with it. So dealers can be good because they're more reputable. The big thing is just getting it mechanically checked out, making sure it's good. I like low mileage, so low kilometers, low miles, really important. Look under the body, make sure there's no rust under there. Just check out the overall car and then go online and find out what the cheapest deal is for that same make and model. And you can see what's out there on the market in different cities around you and in your area. And you can see, maybe the cars, if you're buying it for $2,000 and there's ones on there for $1,500, maybe you're overpaying a bit. And that's how you get a good feel for it. There are websites like Blue Book, you can find out the value as well. But I like to just go out there and do a search and find out what the price is. DW says, Mike, do real estate 101 video for us beginners to get into real estate. DW, I actually have a video on my channel under the playlist How to Invest in Real Estate for Beginners. And the video talks about MIC, is the acronym that I use there. So check out that video. It's a good video. It's a good place to start. I'm gonna do some more videos. this video, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, it's gonna be really good for beginners where I walk through a property and explain how I would fix it up and what I would do to make it cash flow. So that's gonna be cool because it's a good one. Any advice, Joe says, any advice for a young person like myself who's 18? My parents agreed to give me the college dollars I don't spend on education, but they're still pushing me to really go. You really want to get ahead and fire in real estate. So yeah, I think university can be a huge value add for certain people. For the majority, there isn't a lot of value. So a lot of people go to university, they chases the arts or whatever they're doing, and they'd be better off probably just getting a job or pursuing their passion as opposed to going to school for 4 years and delaying that and going into debt. If you could take that money and just buy a property or two, you'd be at a huge advantage come when you're 22, say, that you've owned a property for already 4 years and had all that cash flow and all that income. And the value of $1 invested now is $64 in retirement. So if you had $1 million now, it's the same as 64 million you have to earn when you're 65. So that's the power of $1 now invested now. For me, the education system worked out pretty well. I think the Ivy degree connected me with a lot of the right people, so that's important. Yeah. What is the ratio of rents in a quarry? I don't know what that means. What is the ratio of rents in a city like London or Windsor compared to GTA? The ratio of rents, so the cap rate is what you're basically saying. So the value of the property to how much rent. What you're seeing in Toronto is like a 4 to 6 cap rate, which means basically it's priced to income. So for instance, $1 million house in Toronto will rent for like 4,000 something a month. $1 million house in London should rent if it's a multifamily, right? I'm talking like a triplex or something. Multifamily in Toronto versus multifamily in London. So multifamily in Toronto, $1 million multifamily rent for like 5,000 a month roughly. A multifamily in London would rent for 10,000 a month. So there's about double the rent to price ratio in London versus Toronto. In Windsor, it's about 1.5 times. So it's even better. I think $1 million property in Windsor would rent for like 15,000 a month. So better cash flow in Windsor than London, worse overall market fundamentals, I think long term, and worse appreciation play, I think long term. So that's just the nature of what, like Toronto obviously has the strongest market fundamentals and therefore the lowest risk. And so you're paying for risk. A small town has more risk than a large town. That's just kind of what it is. You should be investing for cash flow first. So if there's no cash flow, don't invest. And is the purchase difference an advantage? It's just different. I don't know if it's an advantage for cash flow. It's not necessarily an advantage overall because the comps in Windsor, like a house in Windsor is worth $150,000 on average. House in Toronto is worth say $750,000 or $1 million. That just is the nature of the value of the land there. The land in Windsor is worth like zero. It's almost worth nothing. The land in Toronto is very, very valuable. And so it's just supply and demand, basically. There's not a lot of foreign investment and stuff in Windsor. There's a ton in Toronto. So it can be an advantage for you depending if you want to manage in Windsor. For me, it's too far of a drive right now, but you never know in the future. That's a great answer related to my question about tenants paying late. I have liquid reserves to cover any tenant who pays late. I will follow your lead and not bother the tenant about paying late. Yeah, I mean, you can just follow up with them and say, hey, it'd be great if you paid on time. Create a discount system for paying on time. That's smart. Incentivize on-time payment. But if they're a really good tenant and they're just like always paying on the third, that's not a big deal really in my opinion. It's if it starts getting worse. So you see a pattern that goes from the third to the fifth to the 7th to the 9th to the 14th to the 16th, and then they're paying on the 20th of the month. They're not gonna be able to get rent again for you on the 1st. Like there's no way in 9 days they'll have the rent again. They'll just like most tenants don't have the money, so they're on this catch-up game. That's when you need to end for them, right? Serve them an N4 notice, start the process. Just say, look, I don't want to evict you. I'm just serving this notice just in case you don't catch up on your payments. We have this documented, so I can take you to court and make you pay. And they'll be like, okay, as long as I catch up, that notice goes away. Yeah, you won't be evicted as long as you get caught up. It's just documenting that. That's how I play it off with an N4. But you don't want to piss them off right away, especially if they're a good tenant. It has to escalate to that point. Do you feel a lower rent is worth the reduced small hassle factor? Does it even work in your experience? So Fred, sometimes yeah. Sometimes the lower rent does create a lower hassle. Like those tenants who are paying half the rent, they don't want to always call you. But I do have tenants that are so entitled, they're paying half the rent. They know I'm making no money at all on this property that I just acquired, and they have a list of demands a mile long. I want a new kitchen, a new stove. You gotta paint this wall. It's all yellow from me smoking inside of here. You have rights as a landlord. Do you know? Like, you know your responsibilities? These people are just entitled, and they don't even understand that we're literally, there's no money for that because they're paying such low rent. These people are, I have found though that sometimes offering a discount on the rent will incentivize those really good tenants. So a tenant that's really rich, like imagine if I was a tenant looking for a property, I could have any property I want. Like I'm a multimillionaire, so I should easily be able to qualify as a good tenant in any property. You'd be surprised though, some landlords don't want that. They want that tenant who's just like, it's weird. Like, where's your proof of income? And I'm like, what do you mean I'm a millionaire? Like, oh, but what if you lost that money? People are retarded sometimes, but anyway, what I found is the really qualified tenants demand a discount. They know they can get it. They know that the guy's got $100,000 in income and has solid savings and is a great A tenant, takes really good care of all his properties. He's got pictures, great credit score, pictures of all the places he's lived in. That tenant can demand a discount. All the landlords will be begging for a tenant like that in their property that wants to stay for a few years. That tenant knows if market rent's $1,200, they can get it for $1,100. They know a landlord will go ahead and do that because the discount associated. So sometimes those premium tenants will get that. What I like to do is go the opposite way. I like to, if market rent's $1,200, I like to go $1,400 or $1,500 for rent and get those dirtbag tenants in there sometimes. And like not dirtbag tenants, but like the lower, the C grade tenants, it's working class tenant that's having a hard time with their credit score. But I look at their bank account, they get good savings. You know, they'd be a great rent to own type tenant, right? So I find that tenant who most landlords don't want to take a chance on, I'll take a chance on them if the other metrics are met, and I'll charge them a premium. So then I'm making enough money that, you know, after 2 years of them being there, I got an extra $5,000-$6,000 a month in rent. So even if they were crazy and like smashed a hole in the wall, I got $6,000 more rent than the tenant who was super clean and good. So you just gotta balance it out. There's pros and cons to either one. It depends how you service them at the end of the day, right? Hey Fred, thanks. 279. That's a random number. I like that. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. The new channel is not going to have super chat, so I'm going to miss that function because it won't be monetized. Okay, next question. Catching this live a little late on the replay. Tiger Rocks, good to see you on. Rule of thumb and ratio multiples you personally use when analyzing a deal. I kind of talk about that, but I like the cap rate of like between 8 and 10, depending on the quality of the property. Between 7 and 12, I guess, is like the larger range that I would consider. The 1% rule is a really easy, it's basically the gross rent multiplier, the GRM. So what is the rent to price ratio? So for properties, a $100,000 property, can I rent for $1,000 a month? If it's a $200,000 property, $2,000 a month, etc., so on and so forth. That's a good metric I use when I first look at a property. So if I see a property for $500,000, it's rented for $2,500 a month, that's a red flag right there. I already know the gross rent multiplier is bad. It's a 0.5% rule. So that's pretty bad. So I would, any property like that, unless it was a personal reason I was holding that property, I'd probably sell it just because the cash flow is not strong. Like, there's a lot of properties in Toronto that are $1 million properties that are rented for like $3,000 a month, and there's no cash flow there. Like, unless they paid under market value for them, you should still look at every property in your portfolio and say, what is market value of this property? What am I getting in market rent to market value in the property? I sold some of my properties off in my own portfolio in London here because it didn't make sense. The cash flow wasn't there. The area had appreciated a lot. So the houses I bought had maybe, gone up 40% in value, and the rents had gone up 10%. And so the ratio was off now. I sold it and bought 2 more that made more sense. And I just paid a little bit of capital gains tax, but even net of the capital gains tax, it was still a good sale. I ended up with more cash flow in my pocket, and I bought stuff that was undervalued, so I had 2 more value add opportunities on those 2 new deals. Whereas my other deal was already maxed out. I'd already renovated it. There was no more opportunity to add value. So sometimes it makes sense to rebalance your real estate portfolio and sell stuff off. Good questions. Tons of good questions tonight, guys. Rule of thumbs, I answered those. What do you usually pay for home insurance? What do you get covered? I personally like to self-insure, so I go for high liability, but really high deductible. So $5,000 deductible. That means I won't make any claims, probably $7,000 or less. My basement floods, I'm not gonna call the insurance company. My roof gets blown, I'm not gonna call the insurance company. I don't want my insurance premiums to go up. I don't need the insurance coverage, I will self-insure, but I need coverage for liability. Someone dies on my property, slips and falls, I'll pay that $5,000 deductible, and then they can go after my insurance company for the $2 million lawsuit. So I need that large protection there for liability, but nothing else. So big umbrella liability policy and minimum coverages for everything else. So zero rental coverage, zero everything else, just because I'll self-insure, take the risk. And what do I pay? $50 a month for most of my properties for insurance, like really low insurance amounts. Some of my properties are $100 a month if they're the bigger triplexes and stuff. But some people, oh, chubby cheek, fat face. What the hell is that? Everyday power. I'm like the leanest guy there is. But I appreciate that in some ways because that's nice. Chubby cheeks are youthful, I guess. Lost my train of thought entirely. Insurance costs. Yeah, I know some people pay like $200-300 a month for insurance in some of their rental properties. That's crazy. Anyway, let's go up here and keep going with the questions. Did you get my question about MLS deals? I missed that question. You have to repost it. I must have skimmed by it. I don't see it here. You have to repost it. Better than, wow, thanks. Hey Fred, I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Bill says multifamily in Hamilton, Ontario. Talked to a realtor about a BRRRR strategy. They showed me $450,000 houses. They need $100K reno, saying they can get all the money back after the reno. Yeah, but are they going to cash flow, right? If you're all in after the reno, to get all that money back, you need like a $650,000-$700,000 refinance. On a $700,000 refinance, I guarantee you need to rent that property for like $6,000-$7,000 a month to have a good cash flow. So you're probably not having any cash flow with that scenario. But full BRRRR, I mean, if you've got even a few $100 in cash flow and you pull your money out, that's pretty good in Hamilton. So you could do it. Just make sure you run your numbers and you're sure on your numbers. Sounds like you might be doing a bit of flipping, really honestly. Okay. Thanks for the feedback to the question, no problem. This is some gold information you're given today, like always. Thank you, appreciate that. Fred says why. I'm not sure what the why is related to. Do you ever buy properties that have HOAs? I try to avoid them. We have a couple of townhouse condos that have like condo fees, which include maintenance of the grounds, and sometimes that includes the water bill. It sometimes also includes like the water utility usage, which is cool, and that's included in a condo because then I just do a student rental and I max that water usage out. It's a fixed fee for me. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where will do them, but think about it this way. You got a condo that's got a $350 a month or $400 a month condo fee, which is pretty common here in London. And imagine $400 a month on a little bit older condo, townhouse, and it's a 4-bedroom. That's basically 1 bedroom's rent gone in a maintenance fee, basically. So then it becomes equivalent to a 3-bedroom, which is not that much value add, in my opinion. There's hard to get cash flow from townhouses, and they don't always appreciate as well as single family detached or multifamily detached do without HOA fees. So I kind of like to avoid the condo fee game. There are pros and cons. It's got worse cash flow, but you don't have to worry about things as much. So I'm not a fan of the HOA. Here in Canada, like it's called like a condo fee, very similar. Most of our properties don't have, like most of the none of the detached properties really have those fees, but a lot of the attached houses do. So yeah, good question. Mike, would it be possible to make sex offenders pay a premium since they have a hard time finding housing that would make them always pay on time? Sex offenders, I don't know. I've never rented to registered sex offenders, so I'm not sure. But I would think that might be discrimination. Might be discrimination. You'd have to check that out. Google it and find out if it's discrimination. I mean, I'm all for if they'll agree to it and they'll pay it, then you're cool. But will that hold up with the landlord-tenant board? Probably not. But you can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't get challenged. Okay. Future, you can't make them, but anything can be asked. Yeah, Fred, exactly what I said. Fatty, I used to talk to you in the comments, then I got busy. Not sure what this is related to. Tenants, screening strategy, income, credit score, criminal background check. Yeah, so for me, the biggest one is cash. Like, do you have savings? Do you have investment accounts? Can you show me your bank accounts? And most of them will black up their actual bank account, but send me their history. Like I'll ask for like a 60 or 90 day. They don't have to give it to me, but I say tenants who volunteer that information have a much higher chance of being accepted to our units. If they've got, like some of our tenants had $40,000 in savings, that's a good tenant to me. That shows that they have the ability to save. Sometimes the ability to save is probably going to pay their rent. So that's a big one for me. It means more to me than credit score. Credit score is obviously important. I get them to they go on to log into the app Credit Karma and screenshot me their credit score that way instead of me having to pay to pull it. I don't do background checks, too expensive. I get a feel for the person, and I think my gut feel is pretty good. It's like 90% on point. Okay. How do you get started with learning about renovations? Were you doing all the renovations yourself when you got started? Tom Craig, yes. I was doing everything myself, working alongside. I would hire a plumber and work alongside them as their helper. Hire a framer, work alongside them. Carpenter, electrician. I would kind of work alongside and ask questions and help them out. So they needed materials, I go run and get them. They needed something, I would do that. There was grunt work, like when the plumber would run a plumbing line and tie it in, I'd jackhammer the concrete and do some of that work to learn. I do the hard work because that's how you learn. And you ask questions as you go. Now I don't do anything. I outsource it all and I just manage the project. So because I have an understanding of everything, when a contractor asks me a question, I understand exactly what they're talking about. And that's helpful. When it comes to the 1% rule, for example, if you make 1% rent, it's renting by the bedroom and have to pay utilities versus renting to a family for 1% and not paying utilities. So there's 1% inclusive, and there's 1% plus utilities. So it depends on the 1% rule you want to go with. Obviously, plus utilities is better. I would always take a 1% plus utilities to a family. There's no risk. Students may rack up the utility bills, so there's always a bit of high risk of less profit. Just build it in. With student rental properties, my ROI is higher to build in when they screw up and charge me more in utility usage. What about timeshares? Do you use business credit to purchase property or renovate properties? I haven't used a lot of business credit to do that, but we do use a business card for buying renovation materials. It helps for tracking purposes. But no, we haven't really at this point used any business credit to buy property. Maybe in the future. Can you enable URLs in the comments? I posted a realtor.ca link and YouTube blocks it. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I'm going live from the phone, so I'm actually not sure how to do that. I'm sorry. But you can send it in the comments, and maybe in the comments tonight I'll take a look and I'll click on the link and then I'll open it up and give you my honest feedback. It's 63 minutes in. I think I'm gonna wrap it up and do bath time. So we had a good stream today. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. As always, spend less, earn more, and maximize your returns. Jump on the other channel. I'm gonna put a link to it and subscribe and hit the notification bell so we can do the next Wise Wealth show on the other channel and you guys actually get a notification and pop on. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can. I think sometimes you can share a link in a comment, but for some reason it didn't pop up. I don't know why. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining in. It means a lot to me. Smash that like button. 8 of you smash the like button. I know more of you guys can do that. Before you leave, just click the like button. Thank you. Appreciate that. Jesse, good to see you on, man. We'll have to connect soon. Thanks, everyone. All right, I gotta get some stuff done, get my daughter's bath time routine going, and then catch up on some texts that have been building up, get some work done, and crush. So anyway, guys, happy Wednesday. I'll see you all next week, and I'll see you in the comments this Saturday at noon. Jump in the comments, like the video. The first hour it's released, if you can watch the whole video all the way through, it actually helps a ton for YouTube promoting it. If you watch the video and click off of it, YouTube thinks you didn't like it, and so it de-promotes it. So it's on you guys to make sure the videos go viral. I believe in you guys.